WHPR, Highland Park.
WVIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands.
It's that time, y'all. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. It's straight talk with Valerie. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It can be a tragedy, love. It can be a mystery, or it can be a fantasy. But it can turn out to be perfect in love. Perfect in love. Perfect in love. So real. Perfect in love. It's what I want to you. Your love will be so true.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, Detroit? How is everybody doing? I'm doing great. I'm healthy. I'm safe. My family is good. So I have nothing to complain about. Tonight is the first Monday of the month, and you know that is Love and Logic Monday. We have an interesting topic tonight, folks. Why would Boaz want your ass? So those of you that are tuned in 88.1 FM here in Detroit, 107.3 WVIE in the Virgin Islands, all of you on RadioWeCanSee.com and on Facebook, that's what we're talking about tonight. Why would Boaz want your ass? And I have my wonderful co-hosts here with me, Shalita and 360 Smooth. Say what's happening to everybody.
What's up? What's up?
Good evening, everybody.
And I also have my good brother and my friend and Jerome in the house, and not the ugly Jerome, the fine Jerome.
What's up, y'all? What's going on?
So Jerome is in the house. So we're going to talk about why would Boaz want your ass, because this show is about relationships. It's called Love and Logic because we wanted to bring some logic to some of the disagreements that happen between men and women in their relationships. We know that men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We think differently. We view things differently. Men are mostly physical, women are more emotional, and all of that. So tonight, we want to get down to why would Boaz want your ass? Because people always say, well, I'm waiting for my Boaz. What does that really mean? So let's get a definition of what Boaz is like and all his relatives. Roll the clip for me, Marquise.
You know, everybody's trying to get right. We want the right. See, some of you, how many single folks do I have here tonight? Let me see your hand. I got a word for you single folks. You know, Boaz and Ruth waited for her Boaz. She wouldn't just settle for anybody. The Bible said Boaz was a handsome man, a rich man, a spiritual man, a sensitive man, and that equals a husband. You got to wait. You got to wait on your Boaz. Don't just settle. But if you're not careful, when you go left and it's Friday night and you don't have a date and you're freaking out. I don't have a date. I didn't get married until I was 25. And you know, I just made a decision. I knew there was a call on my life. And I just said, I'm not going to go out and date just anybody and everybody. Because I know me. So I can remember, Pastor Hagee, I used to get ready and get all dressed up on Friday night to see what I would look like if I did have a date. You know, if you're a half a person and you keep going left and you're so needy, you just take anything. I'll take him, I'll take her. You're going to keep attracting half people. But if you'll stay out there and get comfortable being with yourself and with God, you'll attract a whole person. Don't despise left. God's using left to get you right. Don't freak out because it's Friday night and you're in Saturday night and you're in church instead of the club. Boaz has some relatives, and if you don't watch it, you won't get the one God has for you. You'll get his relatives. To the girls, I found this on the internet. Boaz is spelled B-O-A-Z. Everybody say B-O-A-Z. And so he's got some relatives called broke-ass, po-ass, lying-ass, cheating-ass, dumb-ass, drunk-ass. Don't go out with him. Cheap-ass. Turn to somebody and say, I dated him. Locked up ass, good for nothing ass, lazy ass, and especially his third cousin beating your ass. Wait on your Boaz and make sure he respects your ass. Now there's your word. You wanted a word, you got a word.
Okay. So we got a definition of Boaz and all his relatives. Cheap ass, dumbass. It was a couple that wasn't listed. Crazy ass, broke ass, stupid.
Slow ass.
Yeah, slow. You know, it was a lot of them that were missed, but we're going to bring our focus back to Boaz. But before we do that, I would like Shalita to give us a definition of Ruth, because see, the story of Boaz and Ruth is used a lot. I hear it used towards young teenage girls, like, wait for your Boaz, like you're supposed to stay in this purest form of a woman until your Boaz come. And I've seen it used in a lot of different forms as if Ruth was this picturesque model of a woman. But Ruth has some baggage. So, Shalita, tell us about Ruth.
So here's some interesting dynamics regarding Ruth. Number one, Ruth was not from Bethlehem. Ruth was from Moab, which was a pagan city. In addition to her being from Moab, a pagan city, Ruth worshipped a pagan deity. Well, Ruth came into contact with Naomi, her two sons, and her husband, because here's another interesting piece. Naomi and her husband were from Bethlehem. Bethlehem is referred to, or it is iterated as, house of bread. Well, unfortunately, God was judging the nation, and the house of bread had dried up. So Naomi and her husband, they decided to leave in search of more substance, and they landed in Moab, a pagan city. Now you have to understand that is against regulations. Let's call it regulations, right? So they end up there in search of more substance, and they end up staying 10 years. And in the 10 years, they married their sons off to pagan women. Now that was another no-no. You don't marry your sons off to pagan women, particularly not Moabites.
Moabites.
Thank you. You got it. Moabites. because the Bible referred to it as they had a particular proclivity for running away with those men. Those men would just be like, "Oh, I'm out of here," you know.
Get low. Come on.
Yes, and so that was a no-no, and that was a direct no-no from God. So they stayed 10 years, and in that 10 years, Naomi's husband passed away. Both her sons passed away. She had 2 sons. One was married to Ruth. The other was married to Oprah. So Naomi got a word.
I knew Oprah was old. I'm sorry.
That's
No,
okay.
you
That's
good.
So Naomi, in her suffering, of course, her husband's gone, her 2 sons are gone. She has these 2 daughter-in-laws that were pagan women. Here's that bread has returned to Bethlehem, and she wants to trek home. So at some point, she says to her 2 daughter-in-laws, "Listen, I want you to go back home," and this is very interesting, "to your mothers. And I'm asking God to deal kindly with you, that he will provide you another husband and children." Oprah cried, but it made sense to her. And she left, and she went back home to her mother. Ruth said, "No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Where you go, I go. Where you live, I live. Where you die, I'll die." Mm-hmm. She said, "And whatever God you serve, I'll serve." And here was the incredible part. She said, "Until death do us part." Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the backdrop of who Ruth is. Here's another interesting piece. Ruth understood that her actions had to line up with her words. So when she said she was going to go with Naomi, it was 14.2 miles uphill. And there was no plane, trains, or automobiles.
Oh, no.
1714.2 miles uphill. Now, here's another piece you have to understand. It was really imperative for women to be covered. So when she lost her two sons and her husband, both she and Ruth were uncovered. So imagine a 1,700-mile trek without the presence of a male. But she meant what she said, and she walked that thing out. And then it gets more interesting once she makes it to Bethlehem. She makes it to Bethlehem as a pagan woman, which was another no-no. And now she has to submit and find work. So I'm going to stop there. So that's a simple backdrop to Ruth, and just one character trait. We're gonna cover the rest of them during this broadcast.
So thank you for that backstory to Ruth, and it's important because when we say, "Why would Boaz want your ass?" I want people to keep in mind that Boaz went after Ruth, and she wasn't perfect. So I'm going to go to Jerome. And Jerome, a man that has the stature of Boaz. Boaz was handsome. He was rich. He was a lot of things. So to put it in today's layman terms, he had his stuff together.
Right.
What type of woman would a man want that has his stuff together? Because I think we misconstrue a lot of times what we think a man that has himself together would want in a woman. So let's call that Boaz. And what type of woman would Boaz want?
I think somebody like Boaz would want, if I was Boaz, I would want somebody that I could communicate with, not dwell on her past, not think about what she's been through, if it's going to affect our relationship or not. because from the get go, I want to show her that I really want to get to know you and I want to be with you. So I wouldn't want somebody that I would have to, you know, keep repeating. It's okay to, you know what I mean? And I would. What would attract me to her is her hardship and how she came through it. You can't understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That would attract me to her. You know, her past would be her past.
That's powerful because I always say, you know, I have a past. I view myself like a rose, and yes, I've blossomed and I've bloomed, but I still have some thorns on my side, right? And they're not to prick you and make you bleed. Those are just areas of caution. I am healed and I have moved forward. But the reason why I share my past in relationships is so that my man can understand how to love me, right? Not to use my past against me, just to understand how to love me and to know a little bit more about me. So, Armin, why would Boaz want your ass? What type of woman would Boaz want? Or if you put yourself in the role of Boaz and you have it all together, what type of woman would you be attracted to?
Well, before I begin, let me say that my responses are truly meant in love and hopefully to shed a little light on some things. To be honest, Boaz would not want Ruth. He has no reason to want Ruth. Ruth is a pagan woman. Ruth basically represents everything he's been taught throughout his entire life not to be with. The story of Ruth is it's important in the Bible because it's a redemptive type story in the Bible, where it's primarily aimed towards women who may have had, we'll say, a troublesome past, or may just have missed their opportunity to find their mate at a formal time in life. So now this is like their second chance. And what's crucial about this is that the man that she ultimately gets is not some trash of a man. He's not some bottom feeder. He just happens to be what we would look at by today's standards as a high quality man, or some people might say maybe a six figure plus type man or whatever. So it shows that yes, even the most undesirable of women, if they fashion themselves in walking in God's light or embracing what we consider to be the best virtues in a woman, whether it be her femininity, whether it be her intelligence, whether it be whatever she could bring to the table, if she were to harness and embrace those qualities, then yes, even she, despite her past, can still find a quality relationship with a man who does truly and sincerely love her, adore her, and commits himself to protecting and providing and covering her.
Just not Boaz. Boaz wouldn't want her. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not. What I'm saying is, men like Boaz, they have every reason, culturally, spiritually, historically, to not want a woman like Ruth. But yet,
You mean he has a choice? Is what you're saying?
Oh, always. Just the institution of marriage itself is completely built around the will of the man, the husband, because it's the man who proposes. And even at the wedding, when the minister or the priest recites the vows, he addresses the husband first. Asks him, do you take this woman? And then contingent upon his answer, then he asks her, do you take this man as well? So everything about the marriage contract actually is initiated by the man. Even when we talk about couples getting together. We don't talk about when a woman finds a husband, she finds a good thing. No, we say when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. So it is a patriarchal kind of way of looking at it, but it is what it is. And like I said, when it comes to Boaz, he's been taught culturally from his parents, from his teachers, from his friends.
A religious standpoint.
He's been taught that what Ruth is representative of everything he was taught not to engage with. Going back to Solomon and David, do not mix with these women because they are not us. They are not God's chosen people. So he was taught not to engage with women like this. But what she did was she embraced virtue, she embraced feminism, she embraced their culture and their religion, their faith. She embraced all of that. And she transformed herself into the type of woman that is both pleasing to God, pleasing to him, and generally accepted by the community.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, first of all, when we talked about this topic, the first thing I thought about was like, wow, because generally when I hear this subject brought about, they make Ruth seem like she was so pure and she was so perfect, and that Boaz accepted this perfect woman. And that was not true. And that's why I wanted to bring about that story. The other thing is, what we can legitimately take away from the story of Ruth and Boaz is, what does waiting mean? When they say wait on your Boaz, because she had already been married before.
Okay, pick me. Me.
Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
So here were some defining things about Ruth. You have to understand that Ruth was not, when Ruth decided that she was going to show up and do exactly what she said she was going to do, she had no thought in her head about a husband. She was committed to the process by exhibiting her loyalty to her mother-in-law. She embraced every tenet of her mother-in-law's culture and said, I'm gonna walk this thing out with you, right? So in essence, what she really did was she exhibited through that journey all of the desirable traits of a woman that is in waiting. She did. So much to the point where when she got to Bethlehem, of course, now she has to figure out how they're going to eat. Why? Naomi is an elder woman. She has to take on the responsibility of figuring out how they're going to eat. So she goes into a field and she gets behind the gleaners and she's pretty much picking up the scraps.
Mm-hmm.
She's picking up the scraps. But here's the incredible piece. She takes the scraps and she doesn't concern herself with the scraps. She takes it to the mother-in-law and offers it to the mother-in-law. Now, here's another fine piece. By the time Boaz notices her behind the gleaners and he's inquiring, who is this? And he's told by her, I'm Naomi. Here was the magic piece. He said, oh, I already know you. All of the city's talking about you and how you take care of your mother-in-law. Her reputation preceded her in the city. So by the time he actually got a visual, he already knew about her.
Oh, wow. I see you rubbing your head, Armin. What's going on?
Go ahead.
Because what Shalita just said is so important, because today's woman is and I'm not trying to just bash women, but today's woman.
Yes, you are. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, anytime you preface with that, we know a bash is coming.
What we see in the media, it can be pretty well accepted that a lot of women don't necessarily care about that reputation in that same way anymore. And one of the reasons is because we have all these different salacious images, whether it be in movies or in television shows or in the music industry. There's all these different images that are purposely meant to be salacious in nature, because that gets men's attention. It gets lesbians' attention, because like hey, sex sells. But that stimulation doesn't necessarily equate to a relationship.
Longevity.
Exactly. So you have a lot of our women, unfortunately, delve into these behaviors that promote that type of self-image, and they forget that
that wasn't the goal.
Well, they forget the age-old adage of men wanting a freak in the sheets and a lady in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, they take the freak out of the sheets and they bring her to the street too. So now the two become indistinguishable, and now they make themselves what Ruth used to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I've heard people say, I can't believe he cheated on me with her. And so they're looking at what she looks like, maybe physically or whatever, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she's not beautiful to him in another way. She might not be good to him on the eyes, but she's good to his soul. She's good to his heart. She makes him feel the way that he wants to feel. She treats him the way that he wants to be treated, the way that he deserves to be treated. So my answer to those women are, you might want to try what she's trying.
Well, here's another notion that we overlook as women. And I said this on our Love and Logic page. I've been guilty of it in the past. I don't need a man. I want one. Okay, so if you don't need a man, and we all understand already that one of the tenets of a man is to feel needed. That's like the good little elixir, right, for a man to feel needed by his woman. If you don't need a man, you only want one, then you get what you get, because you ain't want one in the first. You ain't need one in the first place.
I see Jerome snickering back there. Jerome, what you got?
She want a once or twice a week, maybe 3 week a week guy.
No, but she gonna
and make it round. She don't want a real man. She wants somebody to come back once or twice a week or more.
No,
and go on his route. She
all of you wrong. She just let you know up front she don't need you.
Wait, I'm actually glad.
But that's what I'm saying. If she don't need you, then she only can want you for one or two things.
That's the complexity of a woman. She wants it all.
Well, see, I'm glad you said that, because you made me think back to the beginning of our program tonight, where we had the excerpt of the pastor. And in many cases, a lot of women don't necessarily see where they fit into the mix, because in some instances, they are the female equivalent of those other men.
Oh.
So in some instances, they may be broke ass, they may be cheating ass, they may be beat your ass. You know, they may be
making their rounds. They're making their rounds. Every one of them women that don't need one but want one, and they're going to serve a purpose in those women's lives to what they want out of a man.
That's correct, because you are what you
do. Cycle. It's a circle. And none of these men know how to be men. And if you want my opinion, you could talk as a woman. You could talk all that you don't need one, but you want one. You better get them while some of them still straight. Because if you don't, you're gonna have a problem. I mean, we running out of resources in men. Either you locked up, or you under the cover, or on top of the cover, or in the closet, out the closet, on the back of that some gun. You know what I'm saying? So.
And see, what you bring up is the actual demographics that so often becomes ignored. The fact that there really are more single black women than there are single black men. So yes, I mean, depending on where you live, the ratio may be anywhere from 20 to 1 to maybe even in excess of 80 to 1 in some states.
Mm-hmm.
So that it is a little competition out there. And what I find very interesting to me is that so often I would hear women from a certain age group, a certain demographic, they will actually down the women that these men that they consider to be these high value men, which that can be argued in itself, because it seems like a lot of that goes from appearance and money, and very little to do with heart and soul. But they put these men on that level, and they get angry when men like that say that they don't want women like them, but yet these men are getting married. They are marrying some women.
And here's some data. 83%? 83% of black men are still marrying black women, even with us outnumbering black men. So if data is true and 83% of black men are marrying black women, even if you live in a city where you are outnumbering men 30-1, look what Ruth did. Do you not think there were eligible women in Bethlehem?
There it is.
There was eligible women in Bethlehem, but her reputation set her apart.
Well, we're going to go to this hard break. When we come back, let's explore some of the reasons why women are still waiting on their Boaz. So you're listening to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream. It is the first Monday of the month, Love and Logic Monday. And we're talking about why would Boaz want your ass? With Jerome in the house, Shalita, and 360 Smooth. We'll be right back at you. Stay tuned. Radio. You are listening to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, 88.1 FM here in the D, 107.3 WVIE in the Virgin Islands, everyone on the Facebook Live, and everyone watching us on RadioWeCanSee.com. Welcome to Love and Logic Monday with my co-host 360 Smooth, my sister Shalita, and Jerome is in the house. The fine Jerome, not the ugly Jerome. I must clarify that every time. So, before the break, we talked a little bit about why would Boaz want your ass? And what does that look like? And what was Ruth like? But we still have a lot of single women who are wondering why they are single. Some reasons why they're still waiting on their Boaz. So, I'm going to start out with Jerome. We had an interesting discussion on the break, but I'm going to start out with Jerome because you said something that was real, like just be yourself. The first thing you said was stop looking. So elaborate on that, Jerome. You were like, stop looking. So what did you mean by that?
Just stop looking. If like they said earlier, if you looking for somebody that you yearning for a man in your life, and you out there, you trying to date stuff like that, stop. If you're not finding them, stop dating. Go be yourself. Go live your life. Do what you want to do. Enjoy yourself. When men see women enjoying themselves and taking care of themselves, that's what attracts them to me. So stop looking for dating, going on dates and stuff, trying to look, or using your girl. Your girl hook you up on a blind date, and he take off his glasses, he cock at it, and you know.
I dated a cock at it guy, so don't make me fall off the chair.
He don't want to take off his glasses. He say his eyes sensitive, but you know what I'm saying. So just stop looking. That's just like if I was trying to date, I know how that person would feel because I've been through it. Go and hang out with my cousins at bowling alleys, and, they sit next to you. You turn around, speak to them. You think it's going good. Then you go out on a second date. They forgot their makeup or something. It's a whole different situation. Seriously though, but stop looking. It'll happen when it happens. I was at work when I met my wife 25 years ago. I was a manager at Little Caesars restaurant. She came through the drive-thru when I was about to close. Imagine where my head was at when she pulled up in there trying to get a slice of pizza. I'm trying to close the place, But I met my wife through a drive-thru. I wasn't looking. I was sick of the relationships that I was dealing with, or if I had dated, and I just stopped messing around with my oldest child's mother. I had stopped messing with her. So I was in a place, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to feel none of that dating crap no more, And she drove through the drive-thru, and I've been with her for 25 years.
Wow, that's solid. Stephanie Rochelle said, Boaz will want my ass because I'm spiritual, caring, lovable, stable, God-fearing. I need him. I'm supportive, appreciative, faithful, affectionate, beautiful inside and out and some. I'm praying for him because I don't get out a lot. All right, sis.
See, I got that, but let me advance Ruth's story then. Thank you, Rachel, and my Inkster sister, right?
Mm-hmm. Stephanie Rochelle, yep, Inkster. That's our Inkster sister.
So here's the other magic bullet with Ruth. Ruth followed directions very well.
Oh.
Armin, you act like somebody punched you in the stomach. Ooh.
That was a bomb that I think kind of went over a lot of people's head just now.
Say it again then.
Ruth followed directions very well. Let me give you another backstory. She was in a foreign city, Bethlehem, where they weren't serving pagan gods. They were serving the great I am. She went there. She embraced their gods. Now, my mother-in-law come telling me, who technically ain't my mother-in-law no more because your boy is dead, go tell me that I understand that Boaz is going to be in one of his fields tonight. He going to be, you know, out there celebrating a little bit. He going to get sleepy. And when he gets sleepy, I want you to find him, take off his shoes, and lay at his feet. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'll have a hard time with that. Like, sit. I think I got to go back to Moab. But she followed those directions. She found him, she took off his shoes, and she laid at his feet on the behest of her mother-in-law. And why was this important? A, it showed that she was, it showed an aura of submission. To lay at a man's feet with no socks.
Girl, them Bethlehem feet
hard,
walking 1,000 miles in some damn sandals.
You
Yeah,
really?
okay.
And this is what she did. She laid submissively at his feet. And when he arose, he was frightened. Like, oh no, who is this? And she said, here am I. This is me. Cast me your cloak. That was verbiage for, I'm interested in being married to you, but I am submitting myself properly. So that I'm gonna let Armin, because
Armin, I see him over there moving around, and he already gasping for air and everything. Armin, what's going on? 360.
Okay, well, to answer your question, first and foremost, one of the biggest problems that single Black women have today with trying to find a husband, they don't do like what Ruth did and enlist the help, mentorship of a woman who's been there before.
Elders.
An elder who has been married, who's gone through that courtship process, who's had a successful relationship. Most women nowadays, they gravitate to their fellow single girlfriends.
On Friday night at the kitchen table with a bottle of Hennessy.
And every time they have a problem, guess who they go to for advice?
Their single friend.
How can their single friend give them advice on a place that they have never been before?
Absolutely. Makes no sense at all. I always use the analogy, if I'm lost and I'm going on vacation and I'm lost, I'm not going to ask somebody that's going the same way I'm going. I would rather ask somebody on their way back. They done been there, right?
Exactly.
Or you going to ask Google or Stevie Wonder?
Well, you know, here's the thing. I think a lot of people, like Jerome said, a lot of people, women and men, but women in this context, don't take the time to get to know themselves. We can create a list of the things that we don't want in a man, because we had broke ass and blind ass and cockeyed and stupid, you know, the whole list that the pastor laid out at the beginning of the show. We've had all of that. So as long as he doesn't resemble anything that gave me any form of hardship or heartache or disappointment before, we roll with that. No, sis, you still need that list of what it is that you do want, and how it's not about attracting them. Can you retain them? Can you keep their attention?
Well, here's a news flash, sis. You are what you draw. I don't know how better to tell you that. You are what you draw. You know how when you were little and you went to the nutritionist and the nutritionist said you are what you eat? You are what you draw. So the point is, if you drew broke ass and bum ass or dumb ass, go back to the table and start all over.
No, move.
With you.
He said move. I know that's right.
You in the wrong city.
Right. Start back. So back to your
somewhere else.
My mother always told me, you want to know how you're doing in the world? Look at your environment. Look at your friends. Look at them.
Yeah, who you surround yourself with. That's right. Faith said, how about making a list of what you want and who you are becoming? I agree with that because, you know, for me, I'm always evolving. So I need a man that could deal with change. And I'm not talking about moodiness, but I'm always growing and I'm always trying to better myself. And I was in a relationship before where I outgrew a person and they didn't understand what I was saying when I said that, but they were sort of stagnant and I'm sort of moving and it just didn't work out. We became unbalanced, if you will.
What was the question? I didn't hear the question.
She said, how about making a list of what you want and who you are becoming? A lot of people don't know who they're becoming or where they're going. They just get up today, go to
I think
bed
that's a
tonight,
start.
and then wake up tomorrow. Same thing. Nobody, you know, you have to have some goals, some priorities, some boundaries. You know, what is it that you will not settle for? You know, how much
Well,
is too much?
let me introduce two more things. Another thing is complacency, because so many women don't and can't identify with Ruth because they don't have that past. They don't have that checkered past. As far as they know of, they've done everything right. They've gone to school, they've gotten educations,
They independent, strong, and black.
and they still don't have their Boaz or whatever. And it never it becomes, well, what's wrong with the men? And it never becomes that question of, well, am I putting my best foot forward? Am I what these men even want? Am I even showing the virtues that I believe that I have in the ways that I believe I'm showing?
Am I checking with men or am I checking with my bitter girlfriends?
Well, see, I'm going to say this. I have accomplished a lot at 56 years old. A lot. I've done a lot of things, been successful at business, educated, all of that. But you're not going to hear me say, I don't need a man. You're not going to hear me say that. I bring a lot to the table, but I need a man to be the legs. I was not made to be alone. Can I be alone? Yes. Is that a desirable condition for me? No. But Stephanie said that she could be submissive to a man. And yes, I can too, to the right man. You know, I don't want one that's going to beat me into submission. You know, I want to be submissive because he's my king. And I want to treat him right.
You Claire Jean's niece. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you.
Nah, you right. Nah, I am Clara's niece. Nobody, there ain't no ass whoopings going on over here. But, you know, it's just the thing that we will put ourselves, and I'm saying women, will expect a man to come and be this knight in shining armor to us, and we're nothing to him.
Zip, zero.
And we got to get away from the fact that, you know, okay, well, I'm sleeping with him, and so could anybody else that's out there. You know, so what else you got? Because to me, you know, maybe you can do the same things intimately in the bedroom, and maybe, you know, that might be what you consider good enough. But can you stand toe to toe to me with your clothes on?
But Armin, is that what they're looking for?
No.
Okay,
No,
that's what I want.
That was going to bring me to the last thing I was going to say. That to a certain extent, they're not being honest with what they really want. A lot of women don't even want Boaz. They wouldn't know what to do with Boaz if they had him. They could not hold on to him. They could not give him what he wants because, first of all, Boaz is just one guy. So you have all these women that have this notion of, well, if I just wait, if I just be patient, I'll find that guy that's so perfect. And what makes him perfect? His looks, his financial portfolio, and then lastly, how he treats her.
Mm-hmm.
But quite honestly, a lot of women don't want men like that. A lot of women do want men that are toxic in nature. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've overheard women speak saying that, oh, they couldn't they couldn't be with a man that was too square because they needed a roughneck. They needed some guy with some age. They needed, what was it? I believe a comedian said she liked a man that she could be with intimately and not quite sure, not quite be sure that she could survive being with him. Like he might kill her, but he might not. But she liked that excitement. She liked that
The
toxicity.
bad boy.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
good girls do like bad boys. You know, they do. And I'm laughing at Stephanie because she said she'll know. Stephanie says she know what to do with him, and I believe she will. She'll light that whole block up with him. So here's the thing that always happens to us. We are running out of time. So I want to end the show with some closing remarks from each of you. And if you had to give some advice to someone who is waiting on their Boaz, what would that be? Let me start with you, Armin.
I would say, first of all, stop looking for Boaz. Look for a man that is attracted to you, because let's just face it, men are sexual in nature. We put that's the first foot we put forward. So at least have the common sense to be with a man that's at least attracted to you. Secondly, be with a man that treats you well. He actually cares about you, that he takes your emotions, your sentiments, he takes all that to heart, and he actually shows that he wants to cherish you. Everything else is negligible.
Gotcha. Shalita?
So I'm kind of with Armin. Don't focus so much on Boaz. It's okay to be with average. It's okay. Everybody wants a Boaz, a six-figure man. It's okay to be with average. So, and what do I mean? I don't mean like average. I mean, so here's another analogy. I heard this told to me several times over my life. Find a man that loves you more and you're going to be all right.
Mm-hmm. My grandmother used to say, it's not who you love, it's who loves you, and you will never be disappointed.
Absolutely. So all the men in your inboxes that you keep looking at his photo, you done scrolled around and decided he wasn't even worth it. He's average. Like you, sis. He's average. You don't have a model figure. You don't have six figures either. Work on you, and let your reputation precede you. Let your reputation precede you.
Gotcha. Jerome.
I agree with both of them. Just, stop. Don't stop being so picky. You know what I mean? You can't have what ain't around no more. Those are dinosaurs, baby, and they damn sure ain't walking the earth. But and stop. And definitely stay off dating pages before you pick a maniac. You know what I'm saying? Or go out into the world, treat yourself, learn yourself, and just stop being looking for that certain one. Because if you get them, I'm serious about this one too. If you get them nowadays, y'all get down and say he want to be with you, and y'all get to that moment to make love, and he got the same pair of underwear you got on. Ooh. Then you really in trouble because you don't know. You gotta stop. You gotta stop messing with people that pretend to want you or need you or love you. You see what I'm saying? So be careful what you're doing. Stop looking for them. Be you. Do what you got to do.
One more thing right quick. Learn how to flirt again. Oh. That's becoming a lost art when it comes to women now. Learn how to flirt. Learn how to entice a man visually, verbally, using your eyes. I remember back in the day when we used to wink a lot. Or they used to purposely drop something and give the man an opportunity to pick it up.
You're not talking about WAP?
No, I ain't talking about no WAP. No, it leads up to some WAP. But
I'm going to blink my 5-inch eyelashes and fan you with them. So this is what I have to say. Take the steps towards truly becoming the blessing that you want to receive.
Yes.
And with that, we are going to prepare to close. So you've listened to another episode of Love and Logic, which comes on every first Monday of the month on the Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream. Please join our Facebook group, Love and Logic, the Relationship Tonic. Jerome is on there constantly giving us input, Shalita, Armin, and myself. And I also want to compliment Faith with Heels and Stephanie Rochelle because they're very interactive on the group. We have some very interesting topics, and we would welcome that discussion. And as a matter of fact, drop a topic in the group, and maybe we'll select you to come on the show and discuss that topic with us live on the air. You have been listening to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, where I don't try to spill the tea or make you feel dazed like you had a shot of cheap liquor. I just want you to see things from another perspective, mine. And we are out of here. See you next week, where we're going to talk about how can a sick church heal a dying world. And we're out of here. Good night.